So Kamchatka Winter.
Yes.
I'm so excited as well because I was scrolling through some of the YouTube comments and I saw a guy say, "Oh, by the way, your pronunciation of the French heavy cavalry is terrible. Please revisit that as your homework." And I have done my homework, and it is. I believe the the heavy cavalry from the French is now pronounced, or always was pronounced as cuirassiers. I've been pronounced it as cuirassiers, which is now I think about it, a horrible butchering attempt of this. So shout out to the guy for helping me out with some pronunciations. We learn something new every day.
Yeah, that's a trickier word. Cuirassier, cuirassier. I mean, it kind of depends on what language you're speaking.
So think probably the best way to think about it is think about it as cavalry cuirass. Just on its own is the breastplate, and then cuirassier is the unit which wears the breastplate. Is probably an easier way of thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, they're beefy boys. They have a ton of HP, and so the armor, the cuirassier breastplate that they have is a part of their identity, isn't it?
Mm.
And I wonder if we'll be seeing any of those units here in this matchup. It is French versus Japanese, which is one of the more classic matchups when you think about it.
Well, it's very hard to define what a classic matchup is, especially when you have 144 to pick from with the 12 civs in the game currently. I think if you go back in the day and speak to some of the older players, the classic matchup would either be the Spanish mirror, the Ottoman mirror, or Spain versus Otto, which we don't see as often as we do these days. I suppose you do see Ottoman mirrors quite often now, but
yeah, those are the vanilla scrub classic matchups, which were really enjoyable, like really back in the day. It's my OneDrive.
Yeah, I need to check some background settings at some point because, like, I'm in the game now, everything seems to be absolutely fine. But when I was loading in, let me just reset that. My FPS and rendering processing was having problems. So I don't know if it's anything to do with the latest software because nothing's changed my side, and I thought it was possibly some background programs, but I've tried to minimize that as best as I can. But anyway, that's arbitrary. We are here for the round of 16. So we are here, guys, for the round of 16 between danielek and PrinceofKabul. The first game is French versus Japan on Kamchatka Winter. I've been joined by the main sponsor / host of the tournament, iNcog. So iNcog, welcome to the tournament. Thank you for dropping by your first cast of this tournament series. And how have you been, and how's the tournament going so far?
Yeah, thank you for having me. First and foremost, these are a ton of. This is just a fun event for me. I always enjoy, like, I don't know. The last one was a huge success in my opinion. Like I had a ton of fun. I'll just put it that way. And we're looking to repeat that this time. I've been good. I've been a little bit away from the AoE3 scene, but I did want to away, but always in the optic of coming back and having more fun with everyone. I do love this community to death. So yeah, just excited, really.
Rumor has it you turned to the dark side of Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, and we are very happy to bring you back from the Age of Empires 2's clutches and has seen the light. That's this time period has provided you more entertainment than Age of Empires 2 can have. But I'm only messing. Both are fun games, and
they're both fun games. But I enjoy AoE3 is my absolute favorite. Like, it's my favorite game of all time. I'm going to be real. So, as much as I was having fun dabbling in AoE2, I'm glad to be back in 3.
Right, so we're in this game now. danielek just picked up 80 wood right side. His Explorer at really low HP. I was watching with bated breath whether he would actually win that fight or not, because it was so close that danielek was committed. He couldn't run away at that point. He just wouldn't have enough time to get out of the line of that circle radius that treasures occupy, or treasure guidance occupy, but he does survive. 23 HP and does scout, so that's extra wood treasure on the right hand side, but unable to get it now. and may have to come
He's
back
not
later.
going to be able to pick that up. I was also watching that exact contention as you were, and I was like, ooh, is he going to get it? Is he going to get it? And he did. But at this point, the Explorer is kind of dead weight in the first stage. He's going to have to heal up and go up to the next stage. You can get the extra HP boost before he can get the 85 wood. So, yeah. But, solid age 1, I think, from danielek. He also picked up a pretty big coin treasure. It was a coin start, not a wood start. Yeah.
Yeah, and that is absolutely crucial in a matchup like this. The French civilization usually get a market in most games as well, unless it's a wood crate start where they might go for the early trading post instead. But Prince of Kabul, he's got 100 coin just sat on the floor, just dawdling around, not be able to do anything. He's also gone for the consulate, Portuguese consulate, so he must have chopped quite a considerable amount of wood to get the consulate down, get the Portuguese allied, and then build your shrine afterwards. And so Prince of Kabul only now aging up, building the wonder with 1 vil, looks to be aging up considerably later than what the French player is. I thought he was putting more villagers onto that wonder, but he's now just chopping wood in transition as you usually would do.
No, yeah, you're right to point that out. The Japanese player is definitely going to be a little bit later. France, I think, has enough flexibility to kind of eke its way into the next stage on a coin start a little bit better than other civilizations, just because of that market. And he got his TP up already. So he's, he wants that TP as soon as possible, but getting in at this point in the game is also really good for him. Oh, and a forward CDB. Pretty interesting on that one. I wonder if he's going to play aggressively yet.
Well, I think he is, because I was watching his woods income and watched the woods go past the magic 125 woods you need for steel traps, and just climbed all the way to 200. That way, danielek can instantly throw down a building mid-map. He's going to go for the single barracks in the moment. Could go double barracks as well. Does have the wood crates to gather up at home. So double barracks could be bow pike. It could be a single barracks. Bit of musketeer raids in. We'll have to see what danielek's first shipment is as well. Does have 20 population queued, and he's only got 15 CDB at the moment, so it looks like it's going to be a full CDB first shipment here. 5 bows being trained from the single barracks. No double barracks coming down from danielek, as it's not the 700 woods, and I think it's just going to be a little bit of pressuring, but not a full-on bow pike rush.
Yeah, you're right. It looks like some pressure out of the French player. Force these villagers back into the town center for the Japanese player. Try to find some damage, but in the meantime, going with the 4 CDB and the market upgrade, he got steel traps instantly upon the age up as well. So yeah, I think we're going to see some H2 pressure out of danielek. The question is whether or not he stays in H2, or whether he follows it up with a fortress agenda.
He's now seen the crossbow coming. He was building the barracks with 2 vils. He needs this barracks to go up. Village on half HP. This is going to be close. He does get it in, and the barracks does get constructed. It's just so close. These timings when the units first come into Japan players' base and when they first get their barracks up. But it looks like Prince of Kabul on top of his game. The barracks is up. Yumi Archer's been produced. And at the moment, these crossbows, they look like they've been ineffective.
Yeah, I mean, they took some HP off of some of the villagers, but no real damage done as of yet. They did take out Freitag. Rest in peace, you glorious monkey. But yeah, not doing too much with these crossbowmen for the time being. You're completely correct. And Prince of Kabul is shrining a bit all over the map.
Wow, this is an interesting play for Prince of Kabul. Prince of Kabul was training Yumi Archer and then cancelled it, has now restarted training Yumi Archers, but has sent himself enlist N regulars, which will one-shot all crossbows and pikemans. I think Prince of Kabul is reading this as a slightly questionable executed all-in bow pike rush, but danielek, 4 CDB first, going for 2 TPs behind this. This is just a bit of pressure from danielek, and actually forcing the CM card out from Prince of Kabul. I'm starting to really like danielek's position already now.
I am as well, because he's getting. Is he going to get stagecoach with this? I think he may. He's got the 4 CDB and the 700 crate. It's a lot of value in that shipment. He has some pikemen out who are going to start working on these shrines. The crossbowmen, however, did accomplish almost nothing. However, they got cleaned up pretty hard by that town center and the Yumi. But that's not the game in and of itself. Like that, there's more going on than just that engagement in the red base.
So it looks like danielek is now aging up with the 700 coin.
Yeah.
It felt like he had the eco really just to kind of gather that himself. He does have 20 vills gathering food, also a lot of goats to gather from if he wanted to, and a market to sell off excess food, but does decide to go for the coin instead. The TP play is interesting because you can capture the player's own TP due to the no TP radius on the current ESOC 8.2 patch. So that could be the opportunity for danielek to climb back to equal eco population, but at the moment PrinceofKabul's shrine boom has been really well done, and shrines are all across the map. Only 5 pikes with not really enough to contest it, and it feels like Japan got away with sending the enlist irregulars card and hasn't really slowed himself down too much, and has now got a greater eco than French, and will likely follow up French to the Fortress Age.
Yeah, but you hit the nail on the head on that one. The Shrine Boom is really good. He's at 200 pop, just replacing the shrines much faster than the pikemen are able to take him out. And then the one thing I do want to say, though, that Daniel has going for him is that his fortress timing is going to be much faster than the Japanese players. Prince is going to go up to the Fortress Age, but he's not going to do so in the immediate future. It's going to take him just a little bit of time, which may give the French player a window to do a lot of damage. But yeah, we'll have to see how that pans out. It's all about the timing, I think, at this point in the game.
Oh, look, check this out. Stable and barracks being thrown down. He scouted the forward barracks, putting pressure on that. Skirmishers are being trained from it, but he will only get a couple out, and there's enough Yumi archers to really contest it, as well as the bestiaries would do all right versus skirmishers. But the addition of another barracks and another stable, PrinceofKabul might just send 600 coin here, but double mass, Ashes and Naggies, and just stay H2 and just try and overwhelm what danielek's got, and I don't think he's going to be following up at this point.
You know what? I think you're right. We'll have to see what he does with that stable, but I think you're right. He's just going to pump out a crap ton of Japanese units in the Colonial Age. And the French, they do have the tech advantage, but Japan has the ability to get a really, really big army out at this point. Yeah, there you go. 10 Ashi are in queue right now. The stables is down. So we're going to see a lot of Japanese units against the superior tech of the French player. But by no means is that an advantage, I think, for the French. Yumi are really good.
I'll tell you what's been nice so far. These 5 pikes have taken down about 3 shrines, I believe. 3 on the right side, 2 on this north hunt, and maybe another 2 on the second hunt to the right. So they certainly got a lot of value out, these pikes, and danielek very smartly pulling his pikes back, keeping his siege potential alive to do with the shrines, and he's just continue working on these 2 shrines which he started on. Could just move these pikes to the other side of the map, to the northwest, so that they keep the shrine uncontested. Massive Ashi mass coming out now from PrinceofKabul, training now 3 Yumi, but 5 Naggies in queue. Age up is not coming in from PrinceofKabul. He just wants a mass, and he's actually closing in on the skirmishers here. He's going to try and trade this off while he can, but I think there's just enough skirmishers here to get some good volleys on the Ashigarus and just make the full use of that multiplier they have versus the Ashis.
Yep, the Nariganana do come and join the fight, which is going to help, but there are enough Dragoons out. I think that the Naginata aren't in critical mass. But as I say that, it's a fairly even trade. I think I want to say it's slightly skewed in Daniel's favor, but Prince is still getting a lot accomplished here.
Just imagine if PrinceofKabul waited with his Ashes to charge in before he had those 5 Naggies. The fact that those Naggies were there snaring would slow down the army, but would have distracted Dragoon fire and maybe a bit of skirmisher fire, and the Ashes could just sit on top of the units and then really pick up a massive fight there. At the moment, he's kind of lost his infantry mass. He's kind of stuck, committed in the second stage. He does have lots of resources, but he's soon will have to send cherry orchards as well. He's got 5 Nagi queued up, 2 Ashes. He could send something like a Daimyo just to try and help his army strength once he does get units, but it's looking very awkward at the moment.
Yeah, awkward is the right word to use at this point, right? Because I mean, Prince has some units on the field. He's got some Yumi that are doing real good. The Naginatas do connect to the skirmishers, which is going to be really good. The Dragoons are picking them off like a little bit at a time. But the tricky thing is, like, Japan does not have the upgrades stacked on any of these units. These are not upgraded. No Ashi attack, no Yumi attack, no Naginata HP, and the consulate is still Portuguese at this point. So these Japanese units aren't quite what you want as the Japanese player at this point. But still, this fight's like going pretty well for PrinceofKabul, I think.
It's going
really
well, but he's remember, danielek can just carry on doing what he wants to do behind us and continuously train units. It feels like PrinceofKabul is just investing that eco lead just to somewhat survive. He feels like he has to make these units, otherwise he could be really behind. These Yumi archers are just unupgraded units. They have no sort of Japan scaling. Only one Nagi here. These Falconets could get a decent volley. Ash is going to go straight in onto melee for these guys, though.
None of them die.
Yeah, they dodge it, actually. It looks like they dodge it and just take area effect instead of full damage. And these Falconets have, well, they haven't really picked off many units, and they're focusing on the Ashes nearby, but once they go into the Yumi archers, there you go, that's double shot kill, and the Falconets have got good value from that shipment. And here come the 3 Cuirassiers. Get in!
Yeah, they're getting in, but so are these 4 Naginatas, and I think those Falconets are finally going to fall pretty easily. 1 Dragoon does go down, only 1 left. This is really a slugfest. That last fight was bloody all around, I think, for both players.
Scores have remained relatively even. No player has really gained score or lost score. They just basically trade off their position. But PrinceofKabul, having that stronger eco, it's just slowly creeping up. That military population still in danielek's favour, but he's lost a lot of Dragoon count, and it feels like you could losing both skirmishers and Dragoons is not ideal. You can afford to lose one unit type and keep the other safe just to allow the remass potential better there, but 3 Dragoons not really going to help with the Naginatas. I suppose the Cuirassiers will also help out, but there's enough Ashis here. Raids topside from PrinceofKabul. 1 seem to be going down, another 2 likely to go down at this point, but I think danielek's just going to deal with the raid, but actually he's going to try and take this engagement with his heavy cavalry and skirmishers.
This is a really tricky engagement, I think, for Japan. A few CDB did go down, mitigated a little bit by the Great Code upgrade. These Cuirassiers, they're doing work. The skirmishers, I think, are just going to mop everything up at this point. Yeah, that's... Japan does get cleaned up. I think some CDBs going down will definitely help the Japanese cause. If you look at the scores, they're now... The score gap has closed. Oh, and some more rating out of PrinceofKabul.
Yeah, and the reason why the score gap is closing is that PrinceofKabul is just trading off armies. Both players really losing their armies, but he has the eco advantage, and when you pick off even more eco from danielek, that remass potential is just starting to wear thin. Also to consider is that the French player is burning through his A3 shipments, and he still has a decent shipment progression, but he's already gone through his 5-unit shipments. He's set 1,000 coin, but after this 1,000 coin, it might be a little harder to decide which card you're going to send next. And I think PrinceofKabul, at this point, he will have a window at some point to age up if he wants to, but big batch of Naginatas. Looks like he went Japan concert and had the Bushido principles. This is a lot of Nagis here, and he sent 5 Ashes before it, so that could have been Daimyo. Daimyo boosted Nagis would have been really strong here, but so much tanky HP, really tough for Dragoons to deal with. Raid right side, 1 Cuirassier taking down villagers. That is a very smart use of that 1 unit. Otherwise would have been focused down by the Ashes here, but the fight in the middle is really hard to call. Nagi's been split off right side to capture more skirmishers. Ash is just closing on Dragoons, but there's a lot of Dragoon reinforcements now. That Cuirassier being picked off by the strong villagers. The HP upgrade also buffs their hand attack, and I don't actually know. I want to say it's going back. It's just gone back in danielek's favor, but it's still. I think it's still Prince slightly.
I think it's slightly in Prince's favor, just slightly. That Cuirassier raid did a lot of work. That was really crucial for danielek because I think like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 villagers went down. It was so hard to tell because there was so much action going on. That fight in the middle, I think, really went in favor of Japan. But I mean, look at all these dragoons that are left over. Like that's still something that matters a lot, especially in this scenario where you have cavalry raiding the French player. You want those dragoons to be able to catch those raids.
Fear
Really action.
the pike raid down to the southern side. 5 pikes. But it's Naginatas on some low HP villagers. We'll pick off 2. All the dragoons move over, and that's a lot of Nagis to be raiding, really. To lose all that just for 1 or 2 CDB kills when you don't have the greatest military is not possibly the smartest. Not the worst decision, though. He does have a few Nagis switching to the other side, though. I think he's just going to try and go for a massive raid here while he's keeping the army busy in the top right.
Yeah, he is. No, you're right. You're right. This game is really action-packed. It's what a treat to watch between these two players. We're finally starting to see some upgrades trickle in for the Japanese player. You did mention the Japanese consulate coming in a little bit earlier. On top of that, we now have the Ashigaru Musketeer attack upgrade, which is, I want to say, pretty crucial at this point in the game when you're in a prolonged colonial situation as the Japanese player. And there we go, that raid you mentioned.
We'll pick up... Well, he wants to try and pick up 2 vills. I feel one's really low HP, but just managed to get away and was body blocked by his other CDB brothers there. Look at this! One CDB just really close to the mine, the others are kind of surrounding him. And that Nagi had to just change target because he couldn't find that target anymore. So an interesting way to defend a cav raid. Very not intentional, but funny nevertheless.
See, that was a good raid. However, there is one tricky thing, is that he lost quite a few Naginata in that exchange, because danielek has a significant military advantage as of right now. Check out this raid getting pushed off of this coin mine. That's really difficult, and Japan does not have the weight on the map to really, push all these. Just so the dragoons are going to do so much here.
Yeah, and the reason why he's struggling out on the map is he's aging at the moment. He's invested resources to aging up, so this military count is a little bit lower. I don't really know why his villagers are so far out from the town centre. I do think there was a coin mine here which they've already gone through, but they do have a closer coin mine to the north side, which will be more easily defended. Massive club pop, hoping to get a big raid, but all the villagers are long gone, and at the moment a lot of these villagers down to the south are at risk of getting picked up. They're chopping wood instead of running for some reason. Now they're trying to run, but this is going to be brutal for Prince-of-Kabul, and danielek looks to have taken the upper hand in this game.
I definitely think he has at this point. This is critical damage right here. Those villagers going down. Prince-of-Kabul does get up to the fortress age, but at that point he's a little bit crippled, isn't he? Because so many villagers just went down in the past 30 seconds.
Well, the eco population does still say it's Japan favoured, but remember, these are cherry gatherers, they're not hunting, and quite a lot of these guys are gathering wood, so it's probably equal at best at the moment, but it's just the veteran skirmishers doing much better than Colonial Yumis, dragoons with cav combat doing very well as well. Now that the Yumis are upgraded, it feels any military force better. And here comes the big pop of sentries from the enlisted irregulars earlier. I think there was a big pop of irregulars as well, but Prince-of-Kabul using all his forces he could just muster to kind of stay alive and keep his cherry gatherers gathering. 9 Yumi archers are sent. A reinforcing batch of dragoons though, no cuirassiers coming across the map for the time being, but it's just enough military here, and I think we're seeing the Zuta more stuff for Principal in full action here. Oh, hang on a minute though. Double batch of Yumis, batch of irregulars, unit advantage going towards Prince-of-Kabul, town centre fire with 135. danielek's backing out, he's having to retreat.
Yes, you're right that the entrenched position of that town center ended up working in Prince's favor, because so many Yumi came out at once fighting underneath the town center. I really thought that Daniel had it, but he hurt himself quite a bit against the Japanese defense, and I think Prince did a wonderful job pushing him back. Now that the dust has settled, though, with this town center up and the map control, I think for the French play, I think Daniel is still doing quite okay. But yeah, really wonderful play out of Prince-of-Kabul in that last minute right there.
So as a result now, especially with danielek having another town centre in the middle of the map and is now starting to produce villagers, he's having a very decent eco population. Only downside is he's starting to run out of natural resources on his side of the map, gone through most of the hunts, but has reduced PrinceofKabul shrine count down to 150. These clubmen are taking a very scenic view of the eastern side of Kamchatka. Haven't contributed too much for however long they've been out on the map, and haven't really done much raiding. Finally remembering them and pulling them back to help defend. But I think he's just keeping them on the side, waiting for a cuirassier switch from danielek, which is just not coming. Danielek still going dragoons, probably skirmishers as well. Outpost coming down on the map. Where would you drop an outpost? You drop it on the right side. That's smart.
Yeah, I like that. Kind of covers that mine. It covers that hunt. I think that the map control for the French player is going to end up winning him the game. Might be a little bit early to call that, but I don't think I'll be wrong. We'll have to see. The scores are remarkably close given the situation of the, that we've been in. But I am sensing a victory for the French player within 5 to 10 minutes. We'll see if I'm wrong. Maybe I am. Hopefully I am.
Hopefully you are wrong. I want to see a longer game to kick off this shorter best of 3 series, but we passed the best of 1s into the best of 3. We do see 4 cuirassiers being trained at the moment from danielek, so he's now going for that cavalry switch. He already has cav combat, but now with a greater eco, refrigeration as well, really helping his economy out, able to pump out more heavy costing units at this point, and can easily afford a batch of 5 cuirassiers while maintaining skirmisher production. And these Continental Yamabushis, they're very strong versus cuirassiers, but enough skirmishers here, a bit of micro, a bit of kiting with the cuirassiers, should be able to pick off this anti-cavalry, and the cuirassiers will do very well versus the Ashis and the Yumi together. There's more Yumis than Ashis at the moment.
Yeah, there is. And another thing to note, I guess there are clubmen out in the field, and they are actually beastie anti-cav units. But these Ashi do not have the close combat card, which gives them HP and additional, I want to say, strength against cavalry. So these cuirassiers, at this point, funny the French dude mispronouncing the French name, but they're going to shine for the time being, right?
Yeah, and the most important thing of the cuirassiers is not actually their damage output, it's their tanking ability while providing cover for their supporting units of the skirmishers behind us. And there's so many skirms here to really pick apart this Japan army. Now that the heavy cavalry is actually engaging, but it's actually the skirmishers behind doing the damage. You can see that all the cuirassiers are really still alive. 3 still standing. The fourth one just went down. The second one just went down there, but the skirmisher mass is still alive. But all the clubmen gone. Most of the Ashes are gone, and the military population is so in favour of danielek. Minutemen available from the second town centre here, but it feels like PrinceofKabul is being overrun here by French units.
He really is. The Japanese army is now dead. They are no longer of this world, and all the French player has to do as of this point is just go push on these villagers, and the game is absolutely over. Not that Daniel can see that at the time being, but this is looking too good for France. Just getting mopped up.
The other thing as well, the home town centre, the first town centre, no vills in it doing damage. There's 17 gathered in the secondary one, so more damage potential available for PrinceofKabul. Big sentry pop coming out, but these are archaic units really, or Colonial at best, and there's just so many skirms here to pick them up. The GG being called, and danielek, the lower rated player, has defeated PrinceofKabul in game number 1 here, and to kick us off its best of 3 series. And do you know what that means? There may be a high chance that we see Yalu River making its debut in game number 3.
That is true. Yalu River is one of the... we'll have to circle back to that map because I really want to talk about it. It's a really cool map in my opinion. But before talking about that, I did want to say that this first game of this best of 3 was really wonderful. 26 minutes of, action-packed, really good back and forth. This is what AoE3 is about. That was so much fun.
Well, the good news is your tournament's only at the round 16 stage. There's plenty more to go through. Quick look at the post-game while we're here. A game which is worth looking through and dissecting. We did see early full CDB play from danielek. Did go early crossbows just to try and put pressure on PrinceofKabul. Got the CM reaction from Japan, which is pretty crucial. That was essentially a 4-vil swing anyway. PrinceofKabul did send 2 4-vil cards later, but really did delay those cards by its own card, took 2 TPs, aged up behind, and it was just continuous trading off stronger Fortress Age units versus a Japan army with a higher replen potential. So it was strong units plus shipments versus Japan's eco, and in the end, it went to danielek's favour. Big catch though, PrinceofKabul at about 21 minutes with one of the CM pops, and I thought that the point danielek had won it, but no, Prince came back in, was looking actually to be somewhat in a favourite position. However, the cuirassiers started to be trained. Danielek came in once again, and it was just lights out at that point. All resources gathered, PrinceofKabul decisively in the lead, but you could see as the game went on, that difference narrowed. Prince couldn't gather as many resources due to having to switch onto wood, walk away from his base for coin, and he did have cherries towards the end, but all that idle time from the French army didn't help as well. But danielek's was only increasing due to the 2 town centres and full map control. So really good play there from danielek, and mega impressed to take down a brigadier if you're a PR32. Next game though, winner picks first. So the rules is winner picks first. danielek will be picking the first civilization. The map will be Colorado, and it's all on PrinceofKabul to come back to 1-1 here.
Yes, it is. Let's see. Really fantastic first game. Just double checking the rules real quick. It looks like the pick is going to be Daniel EK's first.
Quick question: Can he repick France?
He won with it. So in a best of 3, you must win with 2 different civilizations.
All right.
Prince still has Japan unavailable. Oh my God, English is very difficult. But Daniel EK may no longer play the French civilization.
Oh, exciting times. danielek picking Dutch as his opening pick on Colorado. A nice pick for a map like this. You don't feel too pressured to push out for your resources. Dutch tend to have their natural resources in their base last a little bit longer. I think sometimes the map spawns with 2 in-base coin mines, but you all usually have a second coin mine behind your base near the trading route, so a safe secondary source of coin. And Dutch just being a generically strong civ. You can wall here with the enclosed cliffs around your town centre. There's many ways of playing this, and it's not a map where the other player can really abuse stagecoach control. So it's hard to see any specific picks for PrinceofKabul. Russia could be strong, but PrinceofKabul sticking with Japan here.
Yeah, it looks like a Dutch versus Japan. Oh, has been. Oh, is he going to change civs? Maybe, maybe not. So not Japanese versus Dutch. Ooh, Aztec.
Okay, he's going Aztec. Yeah, that's a civ which does very well versus Dutch. I'm expecting well, I mean, danielek could put off the miracle defensive play here, but Aztec's feeling very strong in this latest patch and has the matchup advantage regardless of patch. Aztec's always strong versus Dutch, and this is going to be pretty tough.
It's going to be a trickier matchup for Daniel EK for sure. In a situation where you must pick first on a certain map, you kind of want to bear in mind that the other opponent has the ability to counterpick your civilization. Dutch do have some bad matchups, but I don't know. We'll see what happens in this game. I've seen this matchup go either way. Definitely an Aztec favored matchup, but I'm here for the games.
I mean, yeah, well, that's reassuring to hear for the games, not just my company. Otherwise, that would be a bit.
Even for your company, don't get me wrong, Harrison. Yeah, you're a hoot to cast with. But here we are. I have spawned in. I think it's going to take you a little bit to join us, but
I'm just slowly moving my mouse in an infinite circle, and it feels like there's some sort of mixed match between actually loading in and my screen capture actually capturing it. It's somewhat freezing up just due to the loading in process of the recorded game. I've never noticed it before. I think it's just a one-off occurrence that's happening today. It's something to go away, have a little think about and see what it is. But yeah, I've never usually had this issue, so it's really unfortunate it's come up here. My FPS has dropped down to 0.5 frames per second very briefly, then back up to my cast in 30, then back down, and it's yo-yoing, so it's struggling to get in. But apart from that, though, it's fine. I'm just confused by why this is not working.
With a little bit of time, I don't doubt that the computer will catch up.
Oh yeah, be fine. Once we're in, we're fine, and now, yeah, it looks like we're all fine. So the game will soon be ready to go. PrinceofKabul.
Did Hannah send you his old wooden PC?
No, my PC's on fire. Not literally on fire. It is lit, shall I say? I've never had a loading issue before, so I need to go away, have a think about this. But once we're in the game, though, it's not too bad.
I know, just giving you crap.
Nothing wrong with a bit of banter. PrinceofKabul playing Aztec, spawning in the left-hand side of the map in the colour red. Danielek taking victory in game number 1, has chosen to play as the Dutch in Colorado. He'd be spawning on the right-hand side of the map in the colour blue. Prince did counter with Aztecs. Looks like it's a food and wood crate start for both players, and I would say this is really benefiting Aztecs early game here. Dutch doesn't really use that extra second wood crate early on. However, Aztec, a house, a fire pit, and possibly a market being thrown down as well. Very nice for PrinceofKabul. He could even find a big wood treasure as well and see if he can save that wood up for a TP. There's 120 XP down to the south. There must be a wood treasure somewhere on the map. They usually do spawn. I'm just trying to find if we can see it. I'm looking.
I don't see one on the southern half of the map. Currently checking the northern half.
Oh no, it's just Honcho. So it looks like the woods guarded by 2 grizzlies hasn't spawned this game. So PrinceofKabul had the right idea of holding that wood for a potential trading post, but I don't see a wood treasure anywhere.
Yep, no, you're completely right. There's not a single wood treasure on this map. Looks like Aztec is going to start working on a Pokemon army, so you like to say, whereas the Dutch player, danielek, is working on 110 coin up here in the northern half of the map.
I'm trying to think of if there's a Pokemon which is a Cougar, and the only thing I can really think of is Persian, the Gen 1 evolved form of Meowth. So I guess we can call it Persian. There's quite a lot of I think there's a lot of wolf variations, but we could say this is let's go with Mighty Ina. I'm gonna call this wolf Mighty Ina. Mighty
Ina? I don't know that one. The Persia one, yes, Persian.
Mighty Ina is the Gen 3 normal / dark evolved form of Poochyena.
Damn it! Maybe if I saw it, I would recognize it, but I don't know all the names.
Well,
it dropped off after Gen 3 or 4. I'm not too sure,
I guess you can't claim to be a Pokemon master then. Prince.
No.
Prince.
I did really enjoy the series when I was growing up, though. That was a lot of fun to watch.
PrinceofKabul, though, does pick up Urstling as well, the grizzly bear. Unfortunately, though, this bear hasn't learned to stand up on his hind legs and is having to use all 4 legs to move around. But that's okay, though. This grizzly bear is a strong unit, just like Urstling is in the series. And they've taken... Oh, yes. He's just killed that one wolf there. And trying to pick up this native nuker, and I don't think there's any humans in Pokemon, so we'll have to find a new analogy now.
Yes. I'll think about that one. My brain's not up to speed on finding something funny enough to play off of that, but yes, you're right.
Maybe Ash threw a Pokeball at a trainer and just captured him for himself and just had enough with being a Pokemon trainer. Just want to be... Oh, this is a horrible size of deviations, isn't it?
It is, because the direction my mind was going on that one was not exactly PG-13 friendly, so we'll leave it at that. Christ. Yeah, no. What did Daniel got himself 90 food in the meantime? I did not see whether or not that was before or after his age up, but both players are headed up to the next stage at roughly the same time.
Well, Danielek has 110. Danielek is aging up with 14 vils. That is something you don't often see, and that extra coin he managed to pick up transition allows him to be able to train a villager straight away in the second age. Danielek is already up at 4 minutes. This is a very fast age up time, as Dutch, he can throw down a bank now, he has the resources available, he can train a villager straight away. He also got a market, which is interesting. You don't often see this, but so far it's been a very good start from Danielek, I have to say that.
He actually opened with a market in the Discovery Age, which is so I haven't played in a little bit, and my Dutch is not one of my civs, but I didn't know that they could open market. I could be completely wrong. I'm sorry.
So the reason being is if you get a market, then you have to go for hunting dogs as well. That's 150 wood, and that means 150 wood extra wood you have to chop to get that bank in transition. So that kind of does 5% on hunting in early game really make that much difference? And I think danielek was, once he found a few treasures as well, was able to think, oh, hang on, I'm going to be fine, not just fine, but able to go for a 14 village up. Maybe it was on purpose, maybe it was accident, I don't know, but he's in next stage. First shipment's stable, so going for stable, 2 houses and the bank wagon. Okay, bank wagon's first shipment, and this is more of a play style when you're expecting aggressive play and can get units out in the field very quickly.
Yep, no, you're right. Things definitely did work out in terms of build order for danielek. Some Hussar in queue, he did open up with that, which is, I think it's going to be a pretty strong opening, just considering the fact that Prince does not have any Puma Spearmen. He has Coyote and Mace Holton. With these walls, danielek is going to hunker down and try to weather this rush. I think he should be able to do a pretty good job of it.
Well, he splits his Hussars away from the Coyotes and the infantry there. It might want to pull back now. Oh, actually, taking out a fight is not good. Minutemen need to be spawning right now. And the fact that they're not spawning right now,
that's brutal. Yeah. Minutemen would do so much here, wouldn't they?
At the start of the fight, they would have at least picked up all... Well, yeah, you can see all the infantry and the animals basically picked off, and you would have had about 3 Hussars and the Mace Holtons. The fact that there was no... Minutemen there. He does have a Hussar in queue, but you could have just cancelled that and gone for the Minutemen. I don't want to say that it... Okay, I want to say it's game deciding or game affecting. That is a really big decision there from danielek, and engaging that with his 4 Hussars. Aztec still has the army, they still have their map presence, and you can see that now danielek has been raided, and he's going to struggle to find those resources again to really continue that production. And, yeah, no food income.
No, you're right. There's no food income. There's no income except for the banks. Still producing some coin at this point, which is pretty critical. But yeah, that fight, it could have swung in Daniel's favor, but it just didn't quite because of that lack of Minutemen. And now that's a lot of idle TC time. The barracks was delayed. It's trying to get up here. I think he will get that up. Maybe barely. Oh, the Mace Holton does spot it, I think. Very, very close at this point. Very, very... Lots of tension, I should say, actually, in this situation. Pikemen do come out. That was good.
Pikemen do come out. He needs to focus down the Mace Holtons with his town centre fire. Pikemen are chasing around the Coyotes, so that's good enough. Hussars do come out to engage with the Mace Holtons, but there's only 2 Hussars due to all that eco being idled from danielek. 17 villas in the town centre currently. Pikes do swing around. There's only a couple Mace Holtons left, so these Pikes can do pretty well. But yeah, you can feel how difficult this is to play as Dutch. You're always under pressure. Now the engagement comes up, but it's pikemen versus a whole mixture of army, and it's just the pikemen getting picked off here quite quickly, and that shipment's gone. Whereas a shipment like Colonial Militia, that effect could still stay around, and PrinceofKabul still has that map presence and pressure to be in danielek's base to cut his food income. And with no food income, no units being trained, 2 skirms being produced, but with Coyotes running around the perimeter, searching, sniffing out for vills, this is going to be tough for danielek.
Yeah, no, you're right. Daniel is kind of starved for food right now. He is trying to herd this one in a little bit, but this is so much idle TC time. Skirmishers, not exactly the unit you kind of want in this situation. I mean, what are they going to accomplish against the Coyotes, as you pointed out? There's very little that they accomplish, I think, at this point. Did he cancel them? I think he might have.
And a 6 Coyote runner shipment as well as 3 Coyotes currently in queue. PrinceofKabul is continuing this Coyote production, and I think he's safe to do so. He's only seen the stable. He's saw that danielek has really burnt through his 8 pikeman shipment. Hasn't scouted the barracks just yet, but danielek, he could go pikes. He could make a batch of pikes as well. Pike Hussar is a good combination to have. And that's where danielek has struggled in this game, is not really timing his pikemen and Hussars, or Hussars and Minutemen, and it's been a bit difficult. Coyotes runners come in, they do scout the barracks, but they also scout the Hussars, get get a raid in. Villagers running back. Raid topside. Coyotes moving in. Native scouts seen. Exposed villagers. And at least 2 could go down here. Hussars moving across, but Coyotes engaging the Hussars. But the Coyotes are raiding topside as well. This is a good engagement from PrinceofKabul here. And it looks like danielek is going to lose his Hussars once again. Minutemen do come up though. Another 2 Hussars train.
Yep, absolutely. Minutemen pop and a Hussar pop. But PrinceofKabul was winning the engagements on both fronts on that one. It does look like he, sustained some losses here with the Coyote mass. It has been dealt with. But I think that was somewhat of a better trade for Prince than it was Daniel. I'm actually not sure on that. Don't quote me too hard on that one. Because the Coyote mass is really diminished, but at the same time, like, those villagers got pushed off the hunts again. Finally, Daniel has managed to get a hunt underneath his town center, so that is a boon in this tricky situation. It is low eco for both players, though. That does need to be pointed out.
Yeah, it's very low eco. PrinceofKabul not sending 5 or 3 warrior priests just yet. He could have sent that after the 600 wood. I think that might be a good time to go for it, but he's now gone for Coyote Combat. Coyote Combat, increasing speed and HP at the moment. That's nice to have. danielek, he's going for another bank. This is risky from danielek, especially because the bank's being a bit away from the town centre. If this gets scouted, that's a bank being denied. Villagers being picked up here. Minutemen going down. Where are the Hussars? I don't see any other units out on the field at the moment. Yeah, it's just those 2 Minutemen is keeping the army alive, but oh no, the bank is up, but another 2 villagers going down.
Yeah,
I think
that's
yeah, I think
Daniel the coffin right there with the villagers.
I think danielek just realised his mistake then. Once that bank completed, he's like, oh, that wasn't a good choice, was it? And then the GG's coming afterwards. The eco actually wasn't too bad then, before that bank came up there, so there wasn't an explicit need for the bank there. Of course, would you rather have 5 banks or 0 banks? That's a no-brainer question. I think danielek played that well, just missed it out on a few timings there.
Yeah, a little bit tricky with the Minutemen pop that wasn't there for the very, very first fight, and then after that, he was just off of resources for too long and kind of strangled to death, I think, by the Aztec aggression. So really well played by PrinceofKabul there. Well played by Daniel, but Prince did edge him out in that game.
A fun shipment I'm trying out as Dutch, just to kind of get my head around, and at the moment it's all right, but I don't think it's too good. It's having the 2 outpost wagons. Once they're up, provide more damage output than Colonial militia and can kind of guard your food and coin. The only problem is you don't really want to send it when you're under pressure. But if you're under pressure, then there's no way those get up. So if those 2 outposts here instead of the 3 Hussars, that'd be really nice to kind of then gather behind this. But because PrinceofKabul was always in that base, no way that could get up. Possible CM instead of 700 wood, or in between the 700 wood. You can see that wood was sat in danielek's bank for quite a while, not being fully spent. It's just really tough to play defensive in these type of games, especially when you're playing versus a good opponent who's just continuously flooding units into your base.
Yep. No, you are right.
Right, 1-1 there. I don't think there's much else to look in the post game, and we're going to go into the next game very quickly.
Just talking to Daniel as of right now. Sorry for the distraction. But yeah, there is no more Civ. There is no Civ reset in this series. Unlike a more classic ESOC event, thus Daniel is still out of France, and PrinceofKabul may no longer play the Aztec civilization. So unfortunately for danielek, who does have a preference for France in the 1v1 format, Daniel is in a very, very strong team player. And we are now actually on Yalu River.
Yeah, I was about to say, get excited. This is where it's going to happen for you. You're very excited to talk about this. I was just checking a few things on the side before continuing, and I think
please go ahead. We are actually clicked in so that the players can have a look at the map itself. I'm expecting to see some spicy reactions out of them when they see the.
Yeah, it's the word to describe it is unstandard and civilization dependent. I feel like that's 2 words. But I wouldn't say it's unfair or unbalanced. It just needs creative thinking and a plan in mind.
Yeah, I think both players a little bit surprised. Danielek is asking off screen, of course, where is Kinesi? But yeah, this is,
we've already had that joke in the stream today.
Yes, indeed. So just to, talk about it. Maybe we should actually wait for you to be a little bit more in page because you have the camera. But this map, Yalu River, is very atypical, and both players, from the looks of it, are a little bit surprised. But obviously, checking the map pool before you're going in is a part of it.
I find that a little bit disappointing. Like, the map pool has been advertised. Hey, these are the maps you will be playing on in this tournament, which you have signed up for the weekend. If both players can spend 5 minutes on the quick look through all the maps and look through the rules, then they'll be well equipped to deal with this. You need to remember, Prince has to pick first, and Prince could go for something like Portuguese here, and Danielek could be thinking, do I go back with Dutch? Do I change for something aggressive like Ottoman? He might stick with Dutch because that's the only civ he says he's really comfortable with apart from France. Counter picking here on this map feels very strong.
I feel like Ottoman might actually do okay on this map. I'm not sure though, just because of the 1 trade post. However, PrinceofKabul.
Yes.
Sorry, excuse me. Actually, still has Japan that I think is just on paper probably one of the good civilizations of this map, because you could just go over and shrine the other side of the map, and it's going to be very difficult for the other civilizations to contest your shrine boom. But at the same time, the rush distance on this map is also fairly close, which does not exactly favor Japan either. So there's a lot. Where's their TPs? Yes.
Yes.
Oh, Iroquois. Interesting. What do you think of that choice? What do you think of that pick on this map?
I was about to say, one of Iro's strengths is we don't see it too often at the very highest level, but I have very painful memories when I was trying to climb the ladder around that Master Sergeant level back on RE patch, where Iro would just go to the second age, send shipments like 4 Aena, 6 Tomahawk, 7 Aena, 4 Kanya, 6 Tomahawk, 7 Aena, 6 Aena? 6? They have lots of shipments in the second age and a very powerful age 2 in RE, gave them the title the strongest civ in the RE patch. And when you're playing the Yalu River, unless you do go for the water and control a bit of the water, you are restricted to a very small map to play on, and picking a civ which is very heads up in your face, Warheart in the middle map for map control with the Age of Travois. This could be a full-on bloodfest 7-minute game. The winner will winner of the main of the fight will come victorious. I'm not expecting a full map game to kind of spread out across the map here, but that's just guessing. Who knows? This could be a 2-hour treaty game. You can never predict the future.
No, you can't. So while we're talking about this, there are a few things to point out about the map. It's not just the structure of the map with that river in the middle that is different. You also start with 2 fishing boats and an extra 5 population. So there is that. You can actually ferry some units in the very early game thanks to those fishing boats. And it does alter things, just a little bit, because now you have access to that other side of the map, whereas on a classic like Amazonia, you don't have that option. So no shipments. That's cheating.
Well, like if you don't take a shipment on this map, you are really putting yourself at a major disadvantage. And I feel it's just it's one of those maps you kind of need a deck specifically for this map. We need to see how both players play it. There is a home city flag for both players, so that option is available. Look at that trade route to the southern side. That's a very straight trade route. Last time we saw this map spawn, slight curve in it, but this is a miracle. This has been a quick load. For some reason, the issue I've had has not happened this game. I haven't touched anything.
No, you're right. I wonder if it's because of the map. Maybe, I don't know. That you know what? I don't know, but
no,
I
don't know it either. To be honest, it's something which I might need to consult the tech expert that is Eagle Mutt and say, Eagle, I got a problem. Help me.
Eagle Mutt, best Mutt does need to be said. Map spawn does look pretty even too. I really like the structure of this map. Shout out to
Dansil92.
Dansil, yes, exactly. For making this map. Dansil has been making maps that are alternatives to more standard ones, and I think that that's something to be appreciated because I want to see like how the players react to this setting right now. You get some fishing ships, you got an aggressive map, but you also have like a not aggressive map because of this northern half of the map. What's going to happen? Like that's what I'm after.
Well, so this extra food eco from the Ottoman player is scary. Like, it's Ottoman age up as soon as they get 800 food. They don't need to spend any food for their villagers, but this extra bit of income to start off the game is very strong to have. PrinceofKabul is obviously limited, but he has to train villagers, but does have the fast age up politician. I'm expecting Messenger here from PrinceofKabul. Otherwise, it'll be an in-base defensive war hut in transition, and the wise woman, and try and play a defensive semi-FF. We need to really check their decks to give a bit more of a clue. I'm not expecting a full water deck as in terms of water eco, but enough water cards to contest the water, which is very important on a map. Similar to maps like Team Migration in Age of Mythology. I'm sure there's an Age of Empires 2 equivalent where water and land play. You have to play both to kind of get the full benefit of the map.
Yeah, agreed. But at the same time, I'm trying to think here because you have enough. You have a TP in your base. You have some hunts and you have some berries. You basically have all the tools you would want to just completely ignore water and then just go ham and rush the other guy. But I don't know if that's the right play, as you pointed out. You kind of want to. You don't want to ignore 50% of the map.
Well,
so
the biggest problem you have really is tin mines. As long as you have that base, your mine in base, you're fine to do that. But when you need that second mine, which is nearby but forward of your TC, it's tough.
Yep, no, you're completely correct. But at the same time, neither of these civilizations, I think, are very coin heavy, unless you're Ottoman and going like Jan Apis, perhaps. But I don't know. It's just such a fun mix-up. I'm in for a treat right now. Both players have opted to just use the fishing ships to get some extra food income and fish, as opposed to ferrying some units to these, the resource-rich northern half of the map. I mean, look at all these hunts. There's a ton of them.
Another thing to consider as well, which I haven't really thought about, these two civs in particular, they kind of have to. They have to keep their explorers on this side of the map because otherwise they have no scouting potential. So it doesn't matter if there's a massive treasure on this other side, free to take, no guardians. Danielek's explorer has to be this side to really either get the trading route or just to see what his opponent's doing. PrinceofKabul up fast to the second age with the messenger age up. Yes, very, very scary.
danielek expressing his lack of surprise. And let's see, the Ottoman explorer does go down to the Iroquois war chief. Prince is going to put a TP up immediately. So I think you were right. We're going to see some Iroquois aggression, kind of like what you were describing a little bit earlier.
I'm looking at Prince's deck, there is 4 cards, 4 Kanya, 6 Tomahawk, 7 Aena, 6 Aena, as well as the 2 crate resources and all 3 infantry upgrades. So very aggressive H2 play. No 600 coin, which you may see for a semi-FF playstyle. Danielek going quartermaster, looking to drop down maybe a defensive barracks and stable, but there could be 4 Kanyas right on top of Danielek's base in any seconds now from the war hut. There you go, 4 Kanyas do get sent. The barracks will get up, it looks like, and the remaining wood will be spent into houses, but Prince of Kabul is on the march. He's on the front foot, and he wants to try and put the pain into Danielek's base already.
Yep, you're completely right. The barracks does go up, and the villagers... Oh, I think one of them will go down. Right off the bat.
Oh, Danielek sent 700 coin. I think he wanted to do some sort of FF here, but he's now having to train units. But if you want to do FF, you go for the Governor age up. This is a big mistake.
Do want to point out that the monitor lizard is actually attacking the town center and is now dead, but I don't know. I just kind of got hung up on that. I was like, wow, is that lizard actually biting that building? But yes, it is. Kanya riders really idling all of the Ottoman economy. Jans do come out though, and this is going to get pushed away like fairly easily. I think the crack shot from the Iroquois, coming out, but.
Well, the crack shot is very, very strong at the moment. You can see how Danielek is focusing down at ANA. He's deciding that these are the damage dealers, but Kanya, you can't ignore them. I think he's hoping the town centre can help these units off, but there's only 5 Jan out at the moment. He's got another batch of 3 coming in, sent 700 food, and he's got lots of vills now gathering the food so he can get a full batch of 5 coming out. But just imagine if there's an outpost here as well, helping Danielek to defend here. Batch of 5 Janissaries do come out, and may need to send wood actually if he wants to get another building. He's kind of stuck on a single barracks. And
Yep, single barracks. Looks like he's going to have some Jans to work with, as well as maybe some Minutemen in the town center fire. But these villagers are going to get right back into that town center. It would have been almost nice for Daniel to ferry, just 5 villagers and go hunt on the other side of the river, because you can do that. You can fairly easily, and there's no way for Iroquois to do anything about it, really.
Yeah, that is very true. A bit of walking time for that to happen, though. There's also another giant salamander hunt nearby, but the ideal kind of play in an ideal situation is just to get a second hunt herded into your town centre, which hasn't really been done from Danielek at the moment. I think Danielek thought that he may be the person on the front foot, but once he saw Prince of Kabul's age at the time, he's like, nope, I got to change my plan, and he hasn't got all the food he really needs to make this happen.
Yep. I really like this though, because he has been sending so many crates, and now he's putting down a stable, so he'll be getting some Hussar out in the field, which is gonna, accomplish something. I think Jen Hussar is a fairly strong composition to go for. These Janissaries are trading against the Iroquois infantry and pushing them away from the house. You know what? I think things are not too bad here for Daniel, despite that pressure.
It's deceiving. Daniel hasn't really got the greatest colonial military builds going down, and Prince of Kabul has felt that he's got away with sending 5 villagers behind, but this Aero Warchief is still up on 35 HP. This really needs to be picked off as a priority if it can be. That stable coming up is nice. He's training Hussar. It could have been even nicer if he timed that Janissary push out with the Hussars, but that would take some time to happen. No Minutemen have been called so far, and that was a real crucial engagement, which Danielek did win, I guess you can say. He did win, but he didn't convincingly crush it, and that could have been an opportunity for Minutemen to help out.
I'm having trouble a little bit figuring out what the game is at. There is one small mistake from Prince of Kabul I did like to point out, was that the 5 villagers came out of the war hut and were actually walking towards the Ottoman town before being retasked to wood. So a little bit of idle villager time, if you will. Now these Hussar are out in the field, and the raiding that they going for that.
Oh, he's turned around and brought his Janissaries with him. That is ballsy, and I like it. He's actually picked off most of these anti-cavalry units of the Tomahawks. These two Hussars can turn back in on the Aena. I was just briefly away from the moment, looking to see if there's a second war hut or a stable, but there's no wood shipment in from Prince of Kabul. There's no stable up, no cannon production. These Hussars are somewhat unchallenged, and actually now force out that 7 Aena shipment. I think danielek's quite happy what he just achieved there, and can back off now and remass some more Hussars, more Janissaries, and go again at a later point.
Oh, you're right. You know, so much.
Whoa, those are some long-range arrows there.
Yes, they were. Oh, wow. Fire pit going down in the middle of the map here for Prince of Kabul. This is match point, so whoever does win this game will advance to the next round. And at this point, I'm having a real hard time deciding who I'm favoring at this point. There's just a lot that both players have going for them, but that's a lot of hustle from Daniel. Not a lot of, Tomahawks, I want to say.
I'm just wondering, why did Prince build his fire pit here? He could have had the fire pit home with the rest of his eco-ears and got a much safer fire pit. These villagers are now under pressure. Hussars and Jan's in. He's trying to revive his explorer, which will get to the front line. And I think he's just about got lucky with this, with the Tomahawk being trained from the war hut. And he hasn't gone for the Aero scouting scouting party yet from Prince, and that is a somewhat of a minor mistake from Prince.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry, that was not a big button. You are completely correct. That was trained. Even better because now Prince still has that in his back pocket. These Huts are just connecting with the Tomahawks, and that's not what you want. That trade is very favorable, I think, for Prince of Kabul right now.
In the end, that fire pit's really baiting danielek to push and overcommit, and I think that there is the scouting party just being completed. Let's just quick, that is 10 minutes 10 seconds for the Aero scouting party, and that jam mass is gone. All the crates from danielek have gone pretty much. There's no stagecoach eco to help him out. Otto is just on there, 24 vills, which is respectable for Ottoman given how many vills they usually have. But I suppose they automatically train, so there's no big congratulations there for. I feel bad for saying that.
No, yeah. One of the funny things is that Daniel actually did get millet system like very early on. He got that like 3 minutes and 30 seconds into the game, so that may have influenced things just a little bit. But to get back to the present, though, that's a lot of Aena for Prince of Kabul, and Daniel EK does not really have the tools, I think, to deal with that. We do have a Hussar raid up here in the northern part of the map, but they're not going to be finding anything. They're headed in the completely wrong direction to get anything accomplished at this point.
Just
favorable
imagine,
situation.
Just imagine if danielek went Jan Abus instead of Jan Stable. I think the stables, it's been fine, but now looking at what the unit's been happening and the lack of a stable from Prince of Kabul, Abus guns will be very good versus the Aena, but at the moment these Janissaries are a little bit. Yeah, he even says that he wants Abus now. The Janissaries had a tough time to take on these Aenas.
You know, he definitely had a point where I think he could have accomplished something with the Hussar, but they just got caught on the Tomahawks, and that may have lost him the game at that point. Not too sure on that one. These Janissaries are pushing away the Iroquois army. I think Prince is really just playing it safe. I think he could actually take this fight cost effectively, but he doesn't want to do so close to the stables. Some Minutemen from the blue player are also joining this fight.
That's a really smart decision. Now the Hussars coming back in, but he's been focusing down the Tomahawks in his mass, so these Hussars, when they come in, they should be able to do something, but they're both on low HP anyway, so it won't be as strong of a push as expected. Aero War Chief, full HP, tanking at the front. Crackshot probably went down onto the Minutemen, picking them up there, and once again, danielek is having to retreat back to his base. He's burned through all his coin crates already, so he could drop an artillery foundry now on 600 wood, but he doesn't have the coin to spam Abus guns, and at this point it's just even the Aero's War Chief snaring the Janissaries, but allowing the Aenas to fire from behind. I'm hoping there's a big batch of Hussars on the way, but it's just 5 Janissaries from danielek, no Hussars in queue, and once again this Aena mass, which, looking at the military unit population count, 10 Aenas and 14 Tomahawks now, just will win over time versus 20 Janissaries.
Yep, just a minute ago, you said something that I just want to circle back to and agree with, is that an Abus transition would be wonderful here for danielek, but it's so awkward for him to get that going. Sure, he just put down the artillery foundry, but his tin mine is at 200 coin right now, so that's going to run out in a few seconds. And his coin shipments have also already been sent. So the Ottoman player is actually going to get starved off of coin, whereas the Iroquois is on a food and wood economy, and thus, the natural resources at the disposition of both players just favors favors Iroquois at this point.
Right, so Unit Q, 1 Abus, 2 Abus is now being produced. We do have an outpost going on the second tin mine because the coin mine in base is now ran out, so that point in the game when he really needs that coin income, he just doesn't have access to it just yet. He will go into that mine now protected by the outpost, which is quite nice. However, Iro are only going to get stronger at this point. They have the war dance available from the fire pit. Infantry combat has just come in for PrinceofKabul here, or Age 2 infantry combat, conservative tactics, buffing the tomahawks and Aena's HP and attack. Iro Warchief as well. Iro Warchief full HP and presence as well. So all this is just adding to a very strong Iro army, which I think the Ottoman players are going to have struggle to take on.
It's going to be tricky. This tin mine over here is going to be critical to the Ottoman player. It's his lifeline in this game. He does have 4 Abus guns in queue, so he'll be getting some of that out. But as you pointed out, I mean, this Iroquois just has so much on the field, don't they? So, and the upgrades and the unit set, looking dicey, I think.
There it is. We've seen the first batch of units cross into the New World. A theme which resounds very well with Age of Empires 3 in a kind of historical setting, but instead it's not a New World, it's just a little river. A bit underwhelming at best, but actually 9 Abus guns have been produced from danielek. That is more Abus guns I thought the Ottoman player could even really get out, but he needs to kite, and he should have kited after that first shot and continuously kites. And he's just focused one unit there with his Abus guns, bit of overkill. Now trying to split them up. Jan's crucially holding back the Canyas, and this is the switch that I think danielek was kind of fearing to happen, was the Canyas incoming. Abus guns though still healthy, and once the Canyas go down, it shouldn't be too bad for danielek. And another batch of Abus guns as well. You know what? I think danielek is actually doing all right. He just needs to focus on his cavalry first, and then this would be a very good trade for him.
No, you're right. Just get rid of that last canyon, which does go down. Finally, it's only Abus guns against only Tomahawk infantry. Iroquois infantry, I should say, Tomahawks being one of their units. No, you're completely right. And with that, it looks like the Jans were just able to trade with the Kanya Riders and get Daniel into another stable position. So very, very, clutch. Man, that was really, really amazing. A micro-intensive situation, but Daniel, rose up to that challenge, and I think he's, he's bought himself the time he needs. Oh, that tin mine is already dead. Wow. Gone.
Yeah, and you see now Ottoman is out of coin. He needs to either capture the middle coin mine occupied by PrinceofKabul's war hut, or go for Prince's second coin mine. He can gather coin with his other villas. I think that is what this villager was doing, is trying to scout out where his extra coin mine is available, and he's going to move these 4 villagers over onto that mine, but he's having to move onto the coin. He's going to bring his army with him, and this is one of the features I was talking about, the coin mines. Really tough situation. And it does promote play to move on to the other side of the map, but actually it's just danielek might have to kind of sally forth due to him starving himself out in the base. And I don't like this engagement here. Underneath the war hut, and there's so many Canyas, not many Janissaries, and this is going to be a GG fight. But there's no villagers in the fire pit for the war dance. This is that time you'd really want it. You don't need your eco. You want to crush this fight as well as you can, but you can't because you put the fire pit forward.
Nope, you're right. That fire pit, the placement is so awkward. It's away from all those villagers. Really cheeky, I think, getting this mine over here. He's going through that one as well. It's a little bit dicey, but you know what? If you can get away with it, you can get away with it. So good play from Daniel at that point. But, as you pointed out, I think the Ottoman army is just a little bit too weak at this point to stand toe-to-toe with the Iroquois army. He has to buy himself a little bit of time. Some more villagers have been sent over to continue to gather resources on this side of the map. Really good out of Daniel at that point. Oh, but Iroquois also has a dock up. This game is all over the place. I'm favoring Prince of Kabul, but I'm seeing some good things out of Daniel, if you know what I mean.
Well, it's danielek has the starting to get the eco to get some good units out, but that coin mine, once his coin mine is out, he's in real big trouble. There was a window just when I was talking about the fire pit where I think PrinceofKabul could have won the game, but now there's more Janissaries out, but this push from Kanyas, he hasn't trained any more Kanyas, and this could have crushed the army before, but now has waited for the Ottoman army to kind of remass. But there's enough ANs picking off the Janissaries, the Aegis guns focusing down. Oh, there's just too many units here, and it's going to be a GG call.
That is a GG for sure.
Yeah.
Very well played, though. I really enjoyed this game. That was a lot of fun to watch. It was all over the place. PrinceofKabul does advance to the next round, but really a nice series. I enjoyed that one.
And that game one as well, really impressive from danielek, and even in this game, good effort. He said he should start Abus instead of Huss, and I think, yeah, that is the probably correct call. However, on a map like this with limited coin, either all I think does the same job. But if you're going Jan Hussar, you really need to be really marching forward, close that distance, and just try and pick off that AN account as much as you can. But PrinceofKabul I think he just wanted to play standard, play safe, and just allow his better skills just shine out as the game went on. Starting to capture the trade route to the north side with villagers, not that significant, and just Aero being a war chief civilization just preserves that coin in base so well and for so long that Aero might be one of those another top pick on this map, and picks this map. I'm thinking could be Japan, could be Portuguese, Aero, Aztec, Russia, and I think you can sense it's the playstyle's favourite is either turtling or all-in aggression, and anything else feels awkward.
Yep, absolutely. Good. Yeah, I agree with your analysis on that one.
And, it was good. It was good to see though. Like this is as far as I'm aware, the first competitive game on Dan Steele's new maps. So this is a little moment. I'm going to cut the ribbon and say Dan Steele's new map pack is now officially open for competitive play, and
it was such an interesting game. Like, I'm sorry to no, you're
go
right.
ahead.
I'm with you. Like, it's a lot of these maps are a little bit non-standard, but the way that game played out, I think it was honestly like really competitive and really interesting. Like, the map is really nice. Some of the you look at some of the maps like Amazonia or something, and you're like, what is this? Dumpster fire. But Yalu River has genuine competitive interest. I think Guatemala as well. I haven't seen that map being played out yet, but I'm interested to see what happens with that one, because it's kind of like the AoE2 map, Cross or Full Ace or whatever the heck it's called. But these maps are interesting. They change it up, and I think they do it in the right way. So we'll have to see how that goes.
And obviously, no map is perfect, and with a few minor tweaks here and there after a few test runs and test games in this weekend's tournament, let's say, this could be turned into a really it's interesting as it is, but there could be some points you go, oh, I like this feature, oh no, I don't like this feature, all this could change, and it's going to be a really fun game to move on. What could be quite nice, I think, it kind of defeats the point of the river, but is a shallow land crossing at either edges of the map. But I guess that does defeat the entire point.
Yeah, I thought about that myself when I first saw the map. I was like, well, why don't they just do this? But now that I agree with you, I think it defeats the purpose of the river. And then you have those fishing ships as well as a dock that you can throw up to kind of ferry units around anyway. The fishing ships complement the map in a really good way, I think. So yeah, I'm interested to see more of this map. It is actually a part of the map pool from the round of 16 onwards. not the round of 8, but it is part of the semis and finals. So we'll be seeing more of that map for sure.